Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Talkback after our presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments below the video. There is a slight delay, so please bear with us. It may take a second before we see it. While I am waiting for the chat to catch up with us, anyone in the cast, what did you think of these stories?
I thought they were kind of cool.
So Maddie, you liked them?
Yeah, I thought they were kind of cool. Like, we don't know the actual stories of how these things came to be, but somebody decided like, oh, hey, this is how we're going to say that this happened.
Molly, you started to say something?
I really liked it. I like how all the stories went and how funny they were. And interesting.
Have any of you heard of these stories before? The Just So Stories is actually a fairly old collection. Have any of you heard of it before? No? What I really like about this set, and Amber wrote it, it's actually a favorite of hers, but when Rudyard Kipling, when his children were little, he would make up these stories and tell them to them before they were going to bed. And it was one of his children would get really upset if he didn't tell it exactly right. So they became known as, well, it's the Just So story, because his children insisted they be told just so. So that's, and I've always found that very endearing, I guess. Oh, Roxy, yes, I will change your name. I am sorry. I should have looked at that earlier.
I can't figure out how to work anything.
No worries.
You just select participants and then you select your name. Then, you know,
Oh.
If you haven't, it's a bit. Lilibeth Sokolowski has asked, what has been your favorite quarantine show so far? So for those that have been in multiples, what's your favorite one been?
I really like the one, I forgot what it was called. It was.
What was it about?
It was when the Abuelito was telling the stories about like Rabbit in the Moon.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
Good.
I think my favorite was Million Pound Banknote.
Well, thank you. I was happy with that one as well. That one, I actually wrote that one, so I was happy with the way it turned out. I'm glad you liked it.
I think the way that the story was written and the great cast that we had just made it a great story.
It was, and Twain's got this interesting feel with his wordplay, and just he uses punctuation like it's a deck of cards and 52 pickup. It's just all over the place. So, but I really like it. So I'm glad you enjoyed it too. Anyone else? Preferences, thoughts?
My favorite one's this one because it's the only one that I've ever actually seen or been in.
That makes it a good answer. So Doug Sokolowski has asked, which of the characters today were your favorites?
My favorite was probably the snake.
People like playing snakes. They always seem to be fun characters. I can agree with that.
My mom hates it. My mom hates snakes.
I'm not a fan of snakes either, but people like playing them.
I liked The Elephant's Child, not just because I played it, but I felt like I could connect with the character because I asked a lot of questions and people are like, why do you ask so many questions?
My favorite would have been the narrator because it gives you this feel that like you're breaking the fourth wall. So that's always really fun to do, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
My favorite was the Jaguar because, like, not because I played it, but because the Jaguar talking to his mom felt like me talking to my mom about my siblings. So,
I see that. I can see that. So we have a question from Lilibeth Sokolowski. Are you going to do a junior Shakespeare show? I love Shakespeare. I can't answer more about what's coming up. As soon as we know anything, you will know. And you know what? I just realized I misspelled my own name. It's that kind of a day when you misspell your own name.
I wanted to tell you, but I wasn't sure if I should.
That's okay. Megan Simon has asked, I know most of these kids, but don't recognize a couple. Are they all local? And Megan, we've got some new faces in here tonight. Everybody go through, introduce yourselves again and say where you're from.
Hi, I'm Malia Jensen. I'm from Warsaw.
My name is Molly Clark and I'm from Smithton.
I'm Roxy Shoup and I'm from Sedalia.
I'm Wendy Kleintake and I'm from Otterville.
I'm Maddie Phillips and I'm from Sedalia.
I'm Abigail Bull and I'm from Cole Camp.
I'm Gabriel Sokolowski and I'm from Sedalia.
So a fairly broad geography for tonight's presentation. So it worked well. Let's see, another question from Doug Sokolowski. How did you enjoy playing multiple characters?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I did as well. It was really fun to get to choose different character personalities.
And especially with this one. Sorry, go ahead, Lilia.
Oh, you're fine. It was important.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I liked having multiple characters because I got to be whiny, I got to be creepy, and I got to be snide, like all at the same time, I guess. That was fun.
Yeah, playing the broad range of characters is always fun, and especially with this one where each scene is its own isolated scene, you don't have to worry about it fitting into the others as much, so your characters can be 100% unique. So I tend to like that as well. So a follow-up question from Doug. Would you want to do multiple characters on live stage?
Yes.
No.
It could be kind of fun, so yeah.
Change.
I think it would be hard trying to change like my personality multiple times during one show because I am who I am and it's hard to be somebody else, in my opinion, I guess.
I wouldn't want to be multiple characters on live stage because doing stage makeup once is already hard. If you wanted to do it 2 different ways for 2 different characters or changing your costume, that's hard. I mean, I've never like been on live stage with like an actual character, but at dance recitals it's hard enough. Like
I was supposed to do a show at the junior high called Back to the 80s that was supposed to be in April, but since Corona happened, we didn't get to do it. And I played 5 different characters, but since they were all like shout outs to the 80s and my parents were around in that time, I knew a lot of the characters, so I already had like who my character was made up, so I guess it wasn't as hard.
Okay. There's a play called, it's a fairly new play called The 39 Steps. It's a 3-actor play, and there are 101 characters. So one actor plays the same person the whole show, a second actor plays like 5 characters, and the third actor plays everyone else. I haven't seen it, I haven't even read it, but I've heard it's just hilarious. So imagine that kind of extreme
I could not even.
So a question from Christopher Clark. What do you like or dislike about doing plays online instead of in the theater?
Well, when it's at theater, I know I have to do it. But when it's home, I get really annoyed and I don't want to do it.
So you can go.
Okay. For me, the big difference is I don't have to bug my mom a lot to let me do it online. But if it was this like a live stage, I wouldn't be able to go because my mom wouldn't want to drive me or commit. So that's nice about online stuff is it's easier.
Yeah, the commitment for this program is a lot less than a actual stage production would be. This is a question from Amber, actually. For the new actors, those who haven't been on stage yet, does this experience make you more interested in being on stage?
Absolutely.
It definitely did for me.
I'm very glad to hear that. A comment from Margaret Sokolowski. Great job. I enjoyed the performances. Kipling wrote such imaginative stories. Yes, he did. Which one of these stories tonight was each of your favorite?
My favorite was probably the second one.
Camel?
No,
The last one about
the first one.
Okay.
I enjoyed the fourth story the most.
Yeah,
Me
me
too.
too.
I'd say I enjoyed Jaguar the most, yeah. Okay. Linda Hopkins Klein Tank asks, what are the technical challenges of live stream versus live on stage?
Lagging.
For example, with tonight's presentation, we had people drop in the middle of the production. And so we were on the fly having to try and rearrange characters and readjust things. It's terrifying. On stage, you at least know at the beginning of the show if someone is there or not.
Or we have kid wranglers.
And we have kid wranglers making sure that people are where they're supposed to be. And sometimes the internet just doesn't behave and it drops, and it's frightening to deal with.
But this is basically the opposite of the question, but I like it a lot better because I don't have to memorize a script.
That is one huge benefit of it, is that you can have the script in front of you. So.
And to relate to the question earlier, like Eric said in Midsummer Night's Dream, no matter how many people are watching the live stream as it happens, there could be 1,000 people or nobody, and it feels exactly the same.
True. Our energy is confined to us, and we have to create our own energy. Where when you're on stage, you're always feeding off of the audience, and it makes it a lot easier to engage. So yeah, there's a lot of truth to that makes this, in my mind, makes this format a lot more challenging. And I think it would be similar with TV or film, as you lose that connection with the audience. And so you have to gain it with the camera somehow. Another comment from Doug Sokolowski. You guys did great this week. Kudos and bravo to each of you. Thanks again, Carl, for continuing this, and we look forward to more in the future. Thank you, Doug. I'm glad you enjoyed it again this week. And as I said, there are plans going forward, and as soon as we know anything, we will post on the Facebook page and Insta as well. We use both. Lilibeth Sokolowski says, nice job, everyone. Thank you, Lilibeth. I'm glad you enjoyed the show.
Me.
It looks like our comments online are starting to taper out a little bit. So I guess one last question to all of, oh, Maddie, you look like you want to say something.
I have a question. I'm sure you were about to ask this question before I put my finger up, but I want to do Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
There are a number
I meant to say it last week, but I said it right as you turned the live stream off.
Oh, I told him.
Yeah, I heard. There are a number of people that have requested it, and I will tell you that it is among things that are being considered. I make no promises. I make no promises about anything, but it is among what's being considered.
That'd be really funny, like over Zoom.
Right?
In particular, that show or that play.
I think it could work as well as anything else. We would want to, for this show, we weren't too concerned about the backgrounds because I liked the bedtime story aspect of it, and almost everyone telling the stories in their own home. I liked that feel. For Romeo and Juliet, it's more of a show that we would want a virtual background and try and create a real world versus in our homes, you know. But again, no promises. I'm not saying anything. It is being considered. That's all I know.
Ooh, sorry. There was this one play that I saw. It was by we went to see it because the family friend was in it, but they retold Greek mythology and it was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it'd be neat. We did something like that.
There are a couple of plays like that I've looked at. There are a number of options as we continue forward with things. I'm glad everyone's enjoying it. Gabe wants to do cats. Gabe, of course you want to do cats. No.
I was actually about to say, Gabe, no cats. Because he requested every show he's in.
For those that don't know, every single one of these, Gabe has requested that we do cats. It's a running joke. He knows the answer is no, but he's still going to ask.
Because it's hard to do a musical on a platform like this.
It's not just me, the rest of high school who wants it.
We should do the Brothers Grimm stories.
Yes.
They have a lot of stories that are like these ones.
They're really dark.
They're really dark, but
Amber commented in the background, the real Brothers Grimm stories are actually all very, very dark.
Very violent.
My favorite,
very not kid friendly.
My favorite Grimm's fairy tale is the evil stepmother and stepsister. They get stuffed into a barrel full of nails and rolled into a river.
Yeah, and that's not one of the darkest ones. Yeah.
Why?
My favorite one is.
Yeah, we've seen the Disney version of those fairy tales. The real ones are not like that.
Dark. I see videos on the internet all the time of like the real stories from Disney princesses.
Yeah.
And Cinderella, the stepsisters actually cut off their toes to try to make their feet fit into the slipper.
Yeah, one of them cuts off her toes, one of them cuts off her heels, and then I think when they get their comeuppance, they're blinded by a flock of birds. Yeah, brutal.
Yeah.
And one of them.
So,
that's the reason why Disney doesn't.
This live stream has gone into the weeds.
Yeah.
So, for everyone who's watching, I apologize. It got dark in a hurry.
Because of me.
Changed real fast.
Thank you. Again, stay tuned to the Facebook page and Instagram, and we will catch you next time. Thank you.